What's your opinion on TMG? Is it beneficial or overhyped? Great question, Matthew. Thank you for the question. So, in my opinion, trimethylglycine is an essential compound. Can we get it from different foods? Yes. Now, the recommendation is suggesting that somewhere around 2 to 2.5 grams per day is helpful for sports performance, notably body composition outcomes, namely a few pounds of muscle gain, a few pounds of fat loss over a 12-week span, I believe the study was outlining. I think there's a lot of limitations to this study. Now, there is some mechanisms as to why it would work. Helps with methylation pathways. It is a methylation or methyl donor. However, the limitation of that is that it is not something we need to be supplementing with. You can try it for yourself, but the reality is, if it was any good, now this is an old study, guys, it's not a brand new study, these studies have been out for quite a few years now, everyone would be on it. Everyone would be on it. In fact, if it's so good, it'd be WADA disapproved on the sports performance drugs enhancement list. So there we can see, quite obviously, it's not that effective. Now, to get steroid-like results, performance-enhancing drug-like results, it takes exactly that. I'm not condoning them, not recommending them. And it's none of anyone's business what I do or don't take at all either for that point. Now, what I will say is about this is, if you're eating a species-appropriate diet, you probably don't need to add anything to it. I don't think that ancestrally we have evolved to include these things in such a manner that means we will gain more muscle because of it, outside of what we'd be able to do naturally through natural foods. My other point on this is that I think that the study is probably a bit misleading. I don't trust the testing method that they use to identify the body composition of the participants within the study. I don't trust the test study group, and I do not trust the conflicts of interest which could be examined in the study itself. But what I would suggest is the product itself is quite cheap. I'm quite a thrifty guy. Creatine quite cheap, taurine quite cheap, glycine quite cheap. Some of these things could be useful to you. Perhaps you're not getting enough in your diet, perhaps you're at a different starting point to the rest of us, so maybe it could be useful. What I would suggest doing is, for perhaps a period of about 4 weeks, try out 1 gram per day, see if that makes a difference or not in your training performance, your muscle gain, fat loss, and you'll know straight away within probably 1 to 2 weeks if it's effective or not, because you should notice more energy and better methylation pathways, which enables you to perform at your best in the gym. Outside of that, I've got nothing more to add to that. I don't think it's particularly useful in the context of a carnivore diet. I think it's probably overhyped, and people probably serve best just focusing on other biohacks, such as going to bed at an appropriate time, drinking clean water not from a tap. That's going to amount to much more over a 1 year period, which I think is a lot easier than doing something every day, taking an extra capsule or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 every single day for a period of 3 months, which I think could be a pain in the backside. So no, not for me. Not a supplement for me to be adding in.